Hi friends, this is Lisa with The Essential Way. This is Gabriel and Jeanette Castellino's Essential Oils group with Young Living Essential Oils. We are so excited to have the Emotions and Health, What's the Connection class starting today. And so thank you for joining us. I'm sure that maybe we have people joining us from maybe all over the world, so we're really excited about that. For those of you who are still getting on, we're putting the link to this live class on Facebook. And so you'll want to go over there. That's kind of going to be a place to connect with the class throughout the evening. We will have several different giveaways tonight. So I'll be explaining about those, some different ways to interact. And so we're excited to try to make this as interactive as possible, even though we can't be in the same room together. But once again, if you're just joining on with us, this is the Emotions and Health, What's the Connection class. We are going to be going over some really important topics, and I'm especially excited that Mrs. Castellino is going to be doing the teaching for us. So here's a topic. Here's the topic that we'll be talking about, and I just wanted to tell a little bit about The Essential Way. The Essential Way is a community of people who use essential oils and nutrition to boost our health. And so we are independent distributors of Young Living essential oils. And we are pleased and excited to use these oils. We've been using them for about 17 years, and people in our group have been using them for quite a while. And so you can learn more about Young Living's purity and all of their helpful products at youngliving.com. So if you have a chance to check that out during the evening, you're welcome to do that. So tonight, I'm going to be interviewing Jeanette Castellino, and she is actually joining us from Asia, where she lives right now. So she's across the ocean in Asia. I'm here in Indiana. While we're waiting for everyone to get on and while we're kind of getting started, we would love it if you would go over to our Facebook page or some other places that I'll tell you about and just drop us a line and tell us where you're joining us from. Tonight, there's going to be two different places where you can basically join us and share your questions, share your comments. I'll go ahead and put up that page for you where you can join us. It's on the Facebook page, which is The Essential Way, facebook.com/The Essential Way. Or you can also join us on, let me put that slide up here for you. You can also join us if you don't have Facebook, you can go to theessentialway.com and fill out the form that we have there. I'm not sure if that slide is showing for you, but we'll show it here in just a moment. So go to theessentialway.com, tell us where you're joining us from, or you can also go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/theessentialway. But I'm so glad to have Jeanette Castellino joining us. I'm going to switch it over to her now and let her say hi. Hi, Jeanette. How's it going?
Well, hi, everybody. It's great to be with you all. I'm really happy that I can do this. The Essential Way team is really getting me high-tech. And I think it's appropriate to the topic. Can't let even high-tech affect our emotions.
That's right. I think that we have all experienced emotions that come from technology. So tonight we'll hopefully not have that problem. But I just wanted to ask you a little, how long have you been using essential oils?
Well, it's about over 17 years now that we've been using essential oils and are so thankful for it. It's been truly great to have them and to really experience the amazing things it can do for our bodies, to keep us above the line and well.
Great, yes. Well, I'm so pleased to have you as a mentor and glad that you get to talk with all of us tonight. But before we go any further, I just wanted to read a little disclaimer from the FDA. So tonight, the information that we share is intended solely for the purpose of education. Young Living products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, mitigate, or prevent any disease or condition. None of this information that we share tonight has been reviewed or approved by the FDA, and it's not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. So the author and publisher assumes no responsibility or liability for any loss, damage, or injury resulting in the use or misuse of this information or any Young Living product. Please consult with a healthcare professional. All right, thank you so much. And I also did just want to mention once again that the giveaways are going to be available on Facebook. Is it working now? All right, we'll put that slide up in a bit, but for now you can go to theessentialway.com or to the event page on Facebook and just drop us a line and tell us where you're joining us from. Okay, let's dive right off though and get started with our first question. Jeanette, what are you going to cover in today's topic? I know that you said this is going to be part 1. So what are you going to cover in part 1?
Well, this is an important topic and very vast one affecting everyone in some way or another, and has been quite neglected or unacknowledged topic for many centuries. But in recent times, even the medical community has acknowledged a high percentage, as high as 80 to 95% of people's physical problems stem from emotions. And maybe, I don't know if you've read the book 7 Deadly Stresses, or even The Lies We Believe. Here's the book, 7 Deadly Stresses. I don't know if you can see this. It's a good book to have handy. It's available at iblp.org. Needless to say, if it is that high of a statistic, then we need to learn more about it and see if there are solutions. Thankfully, there's hope and solutions. Feelings and emotions are real: grief, fear, sadness. But what we do and how we deal with them is important for our overall well-being and the well-being of those around us. I will also talk about environment, because it's an important topic, even though it's a little aside, how it impacts our emotions, and in a physical way.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, I know that we're going to be going over some pretty deep stuff tonight, but are you going to talk about anything that we can do to negate negative emotions or to address them?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned negative emotions, because that's the kind of emotions we're going to cover today. Most definitely, yes, I will give a few highlights of what we can do later on. I want to emphasize that this is not to take away from our belief in God and prayer, but education on what to do with stuck emotions, with the provisions He's given us. I guess this is good.
Good. Well, that's really exciting, and having a few giveaways throughout the evening, so I just want to make sure that everybody gets connected to those things here pretty quickly. You can visit our Facebook page and go to the event. Here's the address, facebook.com/theessentialway, or go to theessentialway.com, and you can submit any giveaway answers or questions there. So we'd love to hear where you're joining us from tonight. I know that we have people from all over. So let's go ahead and get to our next question for Jeanette. And so, Jeanette, I was wondering, should only adults be concerned with emotions as we're under a lot of stress, or are there other groups who should be concerned about dealing with emotions?
Good question. Emotions can affect all ages, even babies in the womb, depending on what the mother's emotional state is and what she goes through, as well as what the father has passed on to the baby. If you take an adult who started out as a fetus in the womb, his or her mother could have been exposed to all kinds of problems, emotional damage from a harsh word or words at any stage, particularly in childhood, verbal abuse, or even physical abuse. If either parent of that fetus was or perceived to be neglected or abandoned or made to feel invaluable, and I should say, not made to feel valuable in his or her childhood, those emotions can be passed down through the genes. Those negative emotions feed feelings of fear, insecurity, being a failure, rejection, and so on, even if some of those are perceived. The fetus could also be stressed through modern methods of forceps, invasive methods of testing, etc.
Mhm.
The above high levels of stress, especially in early childhood, can alter the methylation process, that is the development process, which is basically turning certain genes on and off. We can turn those negative genetic expressions off by giving the body what is needed, what it needs through essential oils and supplements, and giving it a chemical-free environment. We found Young Living products to be very effective, whether it's cleaners, shampoos, lotions, supplements, and essential oils, which are the purest form we have ever come across, as my body is very sensitive to anything synthetic. But let's discuss the definition of emotions. There is no consensus among the scientific community upon definition, but here's one that says, in everyday speech, it is a relatively brief conscious experience that shows intense mental activity and a high degree of pleasure or displeasure. Emotion is often intertwined with mood, temperament, personality, disposition, and motivation. I just want to add in some theories. Cognition, that is how you view things, is an important aspect of emotion. When emotions are stable, brain and body can function better. Perspectives, decisions, and focus are better, and your family members will not want to part with you. Some emotions can be triggered by external events, like hardship, loss of health or job, the person was defrauded, cheated in some way. Some people develop a victim mentality that others owe them, whether it's a good job or even every penny they lost. Um, or demand it is others' responsibility to lift them up from their situation. Negative emotions can get in the way through the different experiences and perspective and bad decisions evolved from it, which in turn piles up on top of the other emotions, which gets buried alive deeper and deeper. Accidents, Dr. Tom Reed says, minor traumatic head injuries can cause major emotional ongoing symptoms such as depression, panic attacks, ADHD, PTSD, suicide, and other behaviors. Also, certain conditions occur in women after a particularly traumatic birthing experience. Wars are another factor. We know a person who his family struggled through war in his childhood, but as an adult, he developed a strong victim mentality and has developed insecurity and constantly feeling drained, physically drained. And most of his decisions are fear-based. This in turn has affected his spouse and children. Death is another cause, untimely or otherwise, and that can lead to experiencing trauma, shock, grief, anger, fear. Weather is another One, if a person's home has been hit by severe weather conditions or some other, or a home burned up in fire or hit by a tornado, that can be a problem. Environment is one I think is important to take into consideration. Chemicals can affect the endocrine system, which in turn affects our hormones. And the endocrine system is responsible for producing different hormones. Any imbalance can affect emotions, from irritability, moodiness, or to tiredness. There are also brain neurotoxins like glutamates, MSG, found in higher amounts in fetuses than breast milk, causing aggressiveness. It can also cause abnormal brain development, autism, decreased complex learning ability. Aspartate is another neurotoxin, causing emotional state of confusion and other physical problems like PKU, seizures, blindness, headaches. Our high-tech equipment can cause ELFR poisoning, which is extremely low frequency radiation from electromagnetic fields that emanate from these machines, computers, electrical towers, little bad bulbs that produce what engineers call dirty electricity. We can do your own research on that. The reason is because they emit positive ions which affect us, imbalance brain health, sleep is affected, brain gets stimulated, so does not produce the melatonin production. So it takes longer to sleep, or we don't get the deep sleep that we need for our bodies to repair. It's best not to sleep with any high-tech stuff around in our bedroom. All negative emotions are real. Some people find it very hard to get out of it and feel stuck as the up and down pattern continues. We will learn how to help our bodies get over these stuck feelings and not continue to bury them alive. One interesting fact is that animals can sense our emotions, whether good or bad. The good news, as discovered by Dr. Alan Freeman after 83,000 brain scans, is that you can literally change people's brains when you do change their lives. It's called brain plasticity, which refers to the brain's ability to change.
Great. Wow, that's really important. And I'm glad to hear that emotions, sometimes I think we think they just come from us, but there's can be many things that trigger them. And so it's good to realize that as well. One thing I just wanted to ask quickly, you mentioned the aspartates. I'm not sure what those are exactly, but I'm thinking that might have to do with artificial sweeteners. Is that what that is?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Artificial sweeteners are aspartate.
Okay. All right. So even aspartates and many things in our environment can trigger negative emotions. So that's a really good thing to know. For those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much. We are the Essential Way group with Gabriel and Jeanette Castellino. And I'm going to put up the slide here so that you can see where you should be going while you're watching the class. Go ahead and over to one of these places so that you can join in on the conversation. Either facebook.com/theessentialway or theessentialway.com. You'll be able to enter the giveaways and answer the questions. So this is actually a great time to start our first giveaway. We'll be doing the drawing here in several minutes, so be sure to put your answer in as soon as you can. But to answer this question, you can go to either of these places, and we're going to the question we have for you tonight is if you have a favorite essential oil, or if you maybe have an essential oil that you've heard about that you'd like to try, go ahead and enter the giveaway. So we posted that question on the Facebook page. Once again, though, it's just to go on either of those places and mention your favorite essential oil or some essential oil that you would like to try. So we'd love to have some interaction. Also, throughout the evening, feel free to enter any questions that you have because we will be getting to those at the end. So anytime you can enter your questions. The last thing I want to mention before we go on to our next question about emotions is tonight we're not really going into the safety of essential oils or how to use them. So if you have questions about some of those basics, you can go to our YouTube channel and we'll post that link on Facebook. You can go there and watch the Essential Oils crash course. Or you can also connect with the person who invited you to the class. So feel free to do that. Now, Jeanette, I have another question for you. Can you tell us how our body handles emotions when we go through them? Do emotions actually affect our body, and what happens when we have an emotion?
Yeah, sure. Basically, our body stores emotions. Repressed negative emotions can cause physical and mental problems. Let me explain. Do you know what part of our brain is like the librarian for our body? It is called a limbic system in the central cortex of our brain and is the seat of our emotions. Dr. Stewart explains that the limbic system acts like as a librarian. When we experience an emotion, the central brain takes it, catalogs it, and physically files it somewhere in the body. It could be the lungs, liver, a joint. If the emotion is not taken care of, it can produce different physical problems like in the body, like arthritis, headaches, joint pains, etc. In order to access the buried emotions, the central brain, the limbic system, has to recall it. If the emotion is recalled and dealt with, it need not cause disease. Repressed emotions are unfinished business and can cause pain, illness, and disease, affecting us physically and mentally.
Okay. All right. So what are some of the emotions that can cause physical problems? And so can you explain to us some of those negative emotions and maybe some of their specific effects?
Physical effects, physical problems do stem from negative emotions, as some of the medical community have discovered. For example, fear can affect the lungs. It may cause asthma. Unresolved hurt feelings or oversensitivity can possibly cause eczema or fibroids and cysts. Deep sense of frustration and anxiety may affect thyroid. Bitterness and anger could affect the cardiovascular and digestive system. Recently, I was told of a story of a young man who had several years of stomach disorder, the point of severe pain from deep emotional wounds, and he described that pain as a knife put into him. Mm-hmm. Anger is usually stored up in the liver, so some little thing can trigger wrath in a person. Bitterness is like gallstones. Overall, negative emotions can even cause the blood pH to change. It can become more acid. Undealt emotions may cause various organs to work below optimal levels. Let's talk briefly about ways that chemicals can affect our hormones and therefore our emotions. Chemicals affect the endocrine system, like I mentioned before. In women, when estrogen is high, they are disposed to be in the range from irritable to extreme anger. synthetic chemicals contain xenoestrogens, which mimic the body's estrogen and fools the body into thinking that the estrogen level is too high. And it is physically, it can affect and physically can affect us because of the hormonal imbalance. There's another one in swimming pools that can affect the thyroid. Chlorine calcifies the thyroid gland, and the hand sanitizers that contain triclosan, derived into Agent Orange, the story about how it affected the soldiers in Vietnam. It's very important to use chemical-free products. I've tried many over the years, and I found them to be the best. Like in the morning, I use morning bath gel, morning start bath gel, with shampoo, the lavender lotion, Thieves mouthwash, Thieves waterless purifier, Thieves laundry, soap, the household. You can try a few things each month. You don't have to get everything at one time. Because I've seen how important it is to have a home free of chemicals.
Thank you so much. That does give me some specifics, and it gives me some ideas of things that I should look at in my own life even. But before we talk about the solutions, so it's been a lot of doom and gloom, and we're going to get to the solutions as we work through the class here. Once again, we're just so glad that you're here, and we're going to be doing another giveaway in just a few minutes, but feel free to go on either the Facebook or the website and enter any of your questions or the giveaway answers. So let's get to some really fun stuff now. Can essential oils help with emotions? And then also, if you could share with us maybe some ways that we could use essential oils to help with emotions.
Sure can. To support the brain health and body, it's important to do something about it, and you'll be the wiser for it. One way to think about how to help release your body from emotions, the negative emotions, I want to just touch a little bit about how our nose plays an important part for emotional release. When we inhale an oil, because it's the fastest way to activate the limbic system. That's really part of the brain that is activated by the sense of smell. When you put a drop of oil in your palm, rub both palms together, and cup your nose over it and inhale deeply, the librarian, which the limbic system, will retrieve the file, our emotion, from wherever it is physically lodged in the body. And you could feel like wanting to cry, or you might just feel lighter, as if a burden has been lifted from you. You may not, for some people, you may not notice anything in particular happening, but you do feel different. Some other simple things to take note of is to make a habit to breathe deeply, naturally, to develop that habit. In times of stress, if our shoulders are lifted up, if that's a case, just shrug it down. Notice also if stress or time pressures are causing you to be a shallow breather, correct it. Basic oils I like to use on myself or diffuse lemon oil or orange, frankincense oil, joy, or uplift the mood. Peace and calming, balsam calming oil. And sometimes I like to diffuse Christmas spirit and give aroma to it. Let's talk about ways to use essential oils for emotions for babies, kids, and adults. Be sure to research ways to use essential oils safely with babies. You don't need much oil with them. Babies startle easily with loud noises or become fussy and have no idea what to do with themselves. It's best not to assume that feeding talk is sufficient, as you don't know how much has been internalized and filed away. Mom can use lavender diluted and rubbed on the bottom of the baby's teeth, or diffuse or add to bath water. I would suggest using uh, stainless steel sink or ceramic sink. If you use gentle baby oil, then for some calming, you can diffuse that. Some other practical things parents need to calm themselves. Use essential oils like lavender, balsam fir, cedarwood, for some calming or good emotional support. When it's sleep time, you can read or sing softly to them. I like to read scripture or sing scripture songs or hymns during pregnancy and after. Keep a routine. It's best not to have night lamps on, which affects the pituitary function. You could have a small flashlight at your bedside if needed. For young children and children, it's the same as with babies. You can use lavender and some calming. Cedarwood is another one. Why are children afraid of the dark? It is because perhaps the parent felt the same way when they found it and like was not dealt with that. They dealt with. Gentle baby is another oil like I mentioned. Was very good for temper tantrums. I know we have heard many stories about how mothers have used that and just calm the child down immediately. I know one of Lisa had a friend who was having a terrible tantrum, and they were out shopping one day, and she rubbed the gentle baby on her child, and it immediately calmed him down. Another of her friends used cedarwood on the feet of her belligerent son, and that helped him with the reactions. Now, I guess we're left with the adults. Negatives. I have contained many stories of adults who were helping us with essential oils. There's a lady who had come to me for massage, and when I gave her an oil to smell, it reminded her of hospital smell, and I was surprised when I asked her why. She said her mom had died when she was very young, and she became a mom to her younger siblings. And that helped recall the repressed emotions and memories. And she was able to even go back further into down memory lane and recall being abused at 3 years of age. She forgave her offender, but one part she overlooked was she hadn't forgiven herself. That embedded emotion developed into other health issues in her life later on. Well, with emotion-related oils like release, joy, and other oils, she was able to overcome it. But it's not the same for everyone. For some, it can be cleared when it's not suppressed and ignored. The person just needs someone to share their pain with and will not be judged. I once had a young lady who called me out of the blue and wanted to share something that happened in her early childhood. She'd never shared it with anyone else. When she got done with that, she just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, which is a very good thing. Don't ever try to control your sobbing. It actually is a natural eraser for negative emotions. A young man also came for a massage, which is very highly specialized and done on the feet and spine. He was very uptight and no smiles before the massage, but when it got done, he was all smiles and he just looked so different and so relaxed, and he's just like a different person. And the same experience I had with a couple young ladies with no smiles, just cold and hard looks. And one of them, the siblings, asked me later what I did, and he commented that she's not grouchy after all. Cancer patients, I want to make a mention about them. Research has shown that a few years prior to being diagnosed with cancer, a patient will have most likely gone through very severe emotional stress in his or her life. How will I know that the stuck feeling or negative emotion is gone? When I can recall the incident without the attached negative emotion, then I know it is gone. In other words, if you recall an incident when someone did some wrong to you, and those feelings are associated with it, whether it's bitterness, resentment, or anger, if they don't come up, then you know it is cleared. It doesn't mean necessarily that we will forget the incident, we will just not have the emotion attached to it. It will just be another story, and we will be able to recall some incidents and laugh over it too.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is really important. And I know we went over those, but we are going to have a recap at the end. So we'll mention some of those oils again if you missed any of them. I know a good goal for us to take away from this class tonight is to maybe just find one or two things that we can take away to apply in our lives. Consistency is the most important thing, and doing something. So I hope that each one of us who are watching and experiencing will find a couple things, just a couple maybe, that we want to take away and apply for ourselves or our families. So those are great things. We are going to go ahead and announce the winner of our first giveaway. And so this person is Kylie. And so Kylie, you've won some Citrus Fresh oil, which Citrus Fresh is one of our favorites for it's very uplifting, and the citrus oils have a very purifying effect when we use them. So we'll make sure to connect with you, Kylie, and get that off to you. That means we're ready for the next giveaway. And I'll go ahead and show the slide again. If you're just joining us, be sure to head over to one of these places. For this giveaway, though, we'd really like you to go to theessentialway.com. So go to theessentialway.com, fill out that form. We'd really like it if you could share with us the name of the person who invited you. So if you don't want to share that on Facebook, that's fine. But if you could share the name of the person who invited you on theessentialway.com, then we'll be sure to say thanks to them, and you'll be entered into the drawing for the next giveaway. So while you're doing that, take note of these web addresses here. Go over and enter the giveaway. And I think we're ready for another question, which is pretty much our last question of the night. Jeanette, what are some oils that can help us so that we don't have meltdowns? Sometimes emotions are just too much, and we've all had meltdowns. We've all had days when we wanted to have a meltdown. So do you have any ideas for us?
Yes, that is quite a description, yes, for some of us when we go through different things. Cedarwood and frankincense help feelings like agitation, anger, apathy, argumentativeness, boredom, lack of concentration, confusion, depression, disappointment, despair, discouragement, forgetfulness, irritability, what else? Panic attacks and restlessness. One way we could use them is when you want to help maintain your brain health, is to put oil on the drops on the palm of your hand. It could be, for example, if I want to use cedarwood, I'll just put a few drops and dab a finger with that and rub it in the crown of my head, on the temples, behind the ears, or on the back of the the brain stem, back of the neck, which is the brain stem. These are all points that go to the nerve paths that go to the brain. So, and when I get done, then you can just rub your palms together and inhale deeply. I would like to share some of the oils that Dr. Corey Allen uses in her brain camps. He has helped many people who suffer from traumatic stress or abusive upbringings. These people often suffer from constant adrenal fatigue because the loop in the brain just won't shut off because of stuck emotions. And some of the oils that she likes to use for emotions are Idaho Blue Spruce, Sacred Frankincense, Clove, Copaiba, Spikenard, Palo Santo, and cinnamon and lemon myrtle. Lemon myrtle is an oil that will make a huge difference, as she said. You can apply, diffuse these oils, and these can help also turn the negative genetic expressions off by feeding, give your body some material to work with. And for my brain and body wellness, I want to stay above the line. I like to take Young Living's supplements, Super B and Omega Gice. They're very good for Super B, because for just overall, because our bodies are bombarded every day, and Omega Gice helps the brain health. So who does not want to be, who wants to be below the line of mental, emotional, and physical problems? So it's good to do something. Something is better than nothing. Some of the other emotions that can stem from external factors could be, don't forget to look at chemicals in food. Statistics that show major behavioral problems. We can probably cover that in our second part. So,
I'll get a question.
I just want to say I'm so thankful to the Essential Way team for supporting me behind the scenes here, my husband, and my children, Zarek and Noel, and of course, our dear Lisa, who is being the one who has helped me, especially getting me to this level of actually putting it into action, getting online and doing a class online. And there's a friend who actually originally put the idea in my head, so and Lisa just carried it out to this point.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm having positive emotions from your affirmation, so thank you. But well, thank you so much. That's really important, and we covered quite a bit tonight. So would you be willing to do a little, like a recap of some of the main points that you hit on tonight? You just summarize some things before we move on to the question and answers. By the way, this is the time to be adding your questions. So if you have any questions about things that you want to ask about emotions or about anything to do with essential oils and health, we'll maybe have time for some of those. So be sure to go to either theessentialway.com to submit your question, or you can submit it on Facebook. So while Mrs. Castellino gives her recap, you can submit your questions. So what's a good summary, Jeanette?
Yes, no emotions are real, and they can be dealt with when they affect us in a physical way. I'm not suggesting that this takes away, again, like I mentioned for your belief in the living God and his forgiveness and our responsibility to forgive others. We would definitely encourage you to pray and seek him for direction. What we cover today in a nutshell is our limbic system, which catalogs all the emotions we have gone through in life and files the negative emotions in our body. The repressed emotions can cause physical problems, and releasing those emotions through the smell of pure therapeutic grade essential oils, which Young Living has, and the other world leaders, will help support the body's vitality. Essential oils can release those negative emotions so that we don't have to experience all those physical, debilities. So we are so grateful to have these God's provisions in our hands, and we can do something about it.
Great,
So
thank you. Great, you mentioned some of my favorite oils, and that was a really good recap. So I'm just going to quickly recap a few of the oils that you mentioned tonight. Idaho Blue Spruce, Sacred Frankincense, Clove, Copaiba, Spikenard, Palo Santo. We talked about some of the citrus blends like Citrus Fresh, Orange, Lemon. Those are great combos with frankincense if you want to diffuse. We also talked about some of the blends that they've made that contain some great emotional support oils. And so those would be blends like Joy or Release. Those are just a few ideas of things you could try. I know lately I've been using Idaho Blue Spruce before bed. That's my new favorite one. And that can promote all kinds of good things in my body, but I know that that's supporting my emotional well-being too. So that's kind of the little recap. We will have another giveaway in a little while, so be sure to go to theessentialway.com and just share how you found out about the class or the name of the person who invited you. So that's the final giveaway we'll have in a little while. A question that we had from, let me take a look here at the questions. Okay, here's a good question. From Carrie Lee. She asks, what do you recommend for further study? We do have to be a little careful about the resources we recommend. We can't be too specific here, but Jeanette, what would you have to share with Carrie Lee for some ideas?
Well, good question, Carrie. I would say one of the ways is to maybe attend a class on that, or there are books that are written, like I mentioned, the 7 Deadly Stresses. There are books by authors. I know there's one, Emotions Buried Alive, but sometimes I cannot vouch for the author's belief, so you just have to be discerning. And but there are the essential oil desk reference books, which do talk about some of the emotions. So those are just some of the resources you can go to.
Great, thank you. You can look forward to part 2 of the class. We're going to be having another one. It was just a little too much to pack in for tonight. So another question that we had is, what is the difference between sacred frankincense and frankincense? So Young Living offers 2 different kinds of frankincense. What would be some differences, and maybe why would we want to use one over the other?
That's a good question. In fact, I was sacred frankincense is the white frankincense, which was used mainly for anointing of kings, and it's one for, I guess, for the emotions. Some people have used a sacred frankincense. I know what, like Dr. Allen, she uses in her brain camp sacred frankincense. There are some other things, but I don't know if I can mention that on the air, but if you can email us, I can, or call our number, we'll be able to tell you that.
Great, yes. I know that some people just will find that they prefer one over the other 2. So that's another thing, is because all of our body chemistry is different, some people will find that one does something different. So that's something you could just try out. But Another question that we have doesn't exactly relate to emotions, but if you think about it, everything relates to emotions. So Carol had asked, what are some ways that we can support our vision health? What are some oils that support our vision? She says that she uses frankincense to support her vision, but do you have any other ideas for that, Jeanette?
Thank you for the question. Yes, there are quite a few oils that support health, but keep in mind it's not only just oils. Oils are not everything. We also are eye cells. Eyes are made of cells which need food as well. So I would answer it in two parts. Where the oils are concerned, I know many people have used since around the eye. You do not want to put oils in your eye, right on the eyebrow and the cheekbone area, right around. Lavender has been another one. Juniper, because that helps to support nerve health. So you can do a combination of these things. And in one of our newsletters, we actually written something very detailed. We did a whole section on that. So you can resend that to you if you like. The second part of that is we can support our eye health by giving it the food it needs. And conventional red berries are very high in the nutrients that our eyes need. And it does, I know many people have said they don't need their glasses anymore. Health is much better. So Ningxia Red and Ningxia Nitro. Cow meal is another one that has the Ningxia berries in it. So I would definitely also support my body with the food it needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. We have another question from Elizabeth, and Elizabeth had a good question for maybe people who've used oils for a while. You know that eucalyptus oil is a good oil that a lot of us like, but Young Living has 3 different kinds of eucalyptus oil. So could you share with us a little bit about some of the differences maybe between the 3 different kinds of eucalyptus? So I don't even remember all the different kinds. There's eucalyptus. Oh, okay. My Narelle, the trusty assistant. So there's eucalyptus globulus, eucalyptus radiata, and eucalyptus blue. Do you have any clues for us, Mrs. Castellino?
Yes, that I think we are running out of time, but we will cover that in the newsletter. That is a good question.
That's a great.
You're right. We do have eucalyptus globulus, eucalyptus radiata, and eucalyptus blue. That is a good question, and I think we are running out of time, so we will put that in the newsletter. And because I remember having that same question a while ago, so I know usually if one has that question, others will have it too. So I will put that in our newsletter since we're running out of time.
Great point. Okay, and so this is also a good point, good time to mention that if you go on to theessentialway.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter there. So feel free to put that in there. And we're going to go ahead and announce our last giveaway person. And then if you still had a question, feel free to post it, and maybe we can cover it in the newsletter or in the next class, which will keep you all informed about when that next one will be. So just as we wrap up, our final giveaway winner is Daniel. So congratulations, Daniel. You have won a bottle of orange oil, which is one of my personal favorites for boosting. I just think it helps me stay cheerful, and I like to diffuse it with cedar wood. That's my favorite combination. So you've won a bottle of orange oil. So glad to have you all here tonight. We are so thankful for each one of you who's joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon in another class. So Mrs. Castellino, any closing words?
Well, I'm just so thankful that you could join us, and appreciate you taking the time to do that. And And when you are educating yourself, we know you are not only helping yourselves, but your family as well.
Mhm.
And this is such an important topic to not be neglected. So please do all you can to support your brain health and emotional health and physical health. And it's been great. And we're looking forward to being with you the second part, because we will cover something more, especially in the area of perception and how we perceive things, because that's one of the cognition that we talked about earlier. I think it'll be helpful, and so we will put the second part and try to get as much information packed in, and also answer the questions that we haven't got to yet. So don't be disappointed. We'll get to your questions.
Mhm. Great. Thank you so
very
much. And we will look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye now.